Hello, everyone, and welcome to Seriously Loco, the Seriously Crazy fan podcast for El Paso Locomotive FC. I am your host, Phil Bakke. I'm joined tonight by Christian Canales. Christian, welcome.
Good to be here. It's unfortunate that we are not here to discuss a game, but got to do what we got to do.
Yep. Keeping the content coming for the people, but virtually, of course, not in the studio as per usual. And tonight we're joined by a very special guest. It's player TBA himself, Dylan Maris. Dylan, welcome to your inaugural time on the pod.
Thank you very much, Phil. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's a pleasure.
Well, Dylan, I mean, there's really no beating around the bush about it. You're coming into a really kind of strange and unprecedented situation. You've got to a new home in El Paso. You've been here for a few months, and now everyone's on lockdown. Season is on hold. So, I mean, how's it been kind of dealing with all of this change and kind of craziness over the last couple of months?
Yeah, it's been a difficult situation for, countless people. And it's something you wish you never want to see like in your lifetime. It is a very unique situation that we're in with every industry, not just ours. But, thankful that we're in an industry that is continued to allow our families to survive and continue on, which is, crazy to say. But I think that you learn from this. You learn from these kind of things. They teach you a lot. It's wild times, for everyone. But you just hope and help out as much as you can with keeping your, the distance that's required.
How I mean, is there anything in particular that you do in terms of like passing the time or anything like that to help with when you're kind of stuck inside and can't just head out go eat or whatever?
Yeah. No, I have a family, so I have two young ones, my wife and I. So we, they keep us pretty busy for the most part during the day. And we had just moved into a house, so that's been keeping us pretty busy as well, just unpacking and putting some things in some places that we need to and whatnot, and everything that comes with that. So it's kept us busy, and obviously trying to do what we can to stay fit. It's difficult not being able to go and do things, or when you play in team sport, to have to go back to doing individual stuff just usually isn't as enjoyable, especially when you've done it for the past couple months and then you started the season. So, like I said, it's not the greatest situation, but you got to make the best of it and do what you can to, stay fit and come back stronger.
Has there been any like interaction with your teammates? I'm assuming you guys have like a group chat or something that's you've been trying to keep each other entertained, maybe. But how does it seem like the squad's handling the isolation, I guess, and not being able to do what you guys are here to do?
Yeah, I think everyone is feeling the same, and in a sense that we were all eager to start the season. But we have a very good group of guys. I'm sure they're all very understanding of the situation at hand. And we've all been in touch, just, trying to keep everyone like engaged and encouraged, and, just trying to set up and send each other information on anything we find, whether that be, workout related, or news related. But yeah, we've kept in touch, and I think everyone's coping with it the best they can.
Yeah, it is. I think it's one of those where it's kind of leveled the playing field in terms of everyone is trying to just navigate this as best they can. Just such a strange circumstance, and obviously we're all eager for the season to start back up, as I'm sure you guys are absolutely chomping at the bit to try to get back. You got that small taste at the beginning of the season, and I'm sure you guys are eager, but it is the right thing, as you said. It is necessary, and we're all trying to get through it. So I mean, I want to kind of transition the topic, let people get to know Dylan Maris and figure out kind of where you've come from, because obviously you spent a lot of time playing in the lower divisions of U.S. soccer and kind of navigating that. But first things first, how did you get started playing soccer? Just early in your life, how did soccer find you, and what drew you to the sport?
Well, I had an older brother who played soccer, and my dad was actually his coach for a number of years growing up. And I'm about 3 years younger than my brother. So around the time, let's say, around that 3, 4 years old, when you start to kick the ball around, I was seeing it quite often, and I was around it a lot. And I think it was just an easy, love for the game early on that kind of drew me to it. So, for me, it was just, I credit a lot of it to, my brother and my dad just being around the sport at an early age and enjoying it, is a big part of developing and continuing to love it, to play it at a higher level. Each and every stage you go, I think, is important. So I think that's kind of what has kept me going as well, just the love of the game. And then as long as I'm enjoying it, I'm happy. So.
And Dylan, did you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Phil.
Go for it.
I was gonna say, did you play any other sports at a competitive level?
I played basketball all the way up until high school, and then I stopped playing. That was about as competitive into another sport as I got.
Hoosiers, Indiana. So
yeah,
it makes sense. It makes sense. What was, speaking? You're from outside of Indianapolis, and what was the culture like for soccer around there, outside the city? I think in recent years we've seen with Indy 11 kind of a growing fan culture around the club and all of that, as you saw firsthand. But what was it like playing and growing up playing in that area?
Well, I'm actually not from Indianapolis. I'm from northern Indiana, South Bend.
Oh, okay.
I grew up playing up in that region, like northern, like in Chicago mainly.
Right.
And then I did move down to Indianapolis when I was in high school for a couple of years, and then I obviously played in Indy shortly after college, so for a couple of years. So just being in the soccer world though, and playing for Indy 11, and as you've seen, I'm sure that they get an incredible fan base, that it grew pretty quickly there. So you got to know a lot of the soccer world. You got to meet a lot of coaches. I got to help coach at a couple great clubs. And it's nice to see that how, it just the growth of it from Indy 11 and how much those kids look up to, the team. It's definitely, a great thing for the city, just as it is for a lot of the cities that it's gone to. I'm sure, I've heard great things about El Paso, and I was obviously really excited for the first game. But, I'm sure that in each city you go to, you're going to start to see more and more growth with, the way that soccer is developing in this country. I'm sure there'll be a lot more changes to come. But, it's a great city. It's small. It's not too big. El Paso is a great city as well, and it's kind of slow in a sense that it's not a high speed city. Kind of Indianapolis is similar in that sense as well. So some correlations, and I've really enjoyed being here thus far, and excited to continue on.
You spoke about your time. Indy 11, was the first professional club that you played for out of college. So how was it kind of getting that chance to play for? Not obviously being closer if you're from Northern Indiana. I'm originally from the suburbs of Chicago as well, so I know that area somewhat. But but playing for Indy 11 and playing for a kind of a hometown sort of club, or a club that represents Indiana at this point. How was that, getting the chance to represent them and kind of starting your career off there?
I think it's something that a lot of players, all in their careers would love to do. To be able to play in front of friends and family, where you've built up a lot of relationships and you've played and spent a lot of time. I think that it holds a lot of sentimental value to it, being able to play for them. It was great. I was able to play in front of a lot of friends that wouldn't normally ever come out to see me play because it's inconvenient and far for whatever reason, and family is going to come to where you are, but it's nice to be able to play in front of those people who aren't able to come out to the games or see me play as often as I would have if I was playing in Indy. But with that being said, soccer is a sport that takes you all over the place, and I've enjoyed my time at every other team I played for. I've had great experiences, luckily, and it's been so far so good here as well. So, it's just part of the journey of being an athlete, and my family and I have enjoyed it tremendously.
The next team you played for, Miami FC, did it make it tough to leave Indy with it being in your home state? Was it a tough decision to move on from Indy 11 and pursue that opportunity with Miami back in the NASL days, for those uninitiated, I guess, in the pre USL kind of big expansion?
Yeah. Not necessarily. I mean, yeah, it's a tough decision to make a move, especially when you have a family. Those decisions become harder when you're not making them just for yourself, when you have others that are depending on the decision. But we talked about it a lot, and I think it was just something that was going to be good for my career. I think that I didn't enjoy my time as much as I was the first couple of years. That third year that I was there, I think that it kind of ran its course with who was around at the time. But it's not a big deal. Like I said, you move on, and then you have to make it the next place you go to the best situation you can make it for whomever at that situation at that point.
You had some success at both clubs, made it to finals with both, or excuse me, not Miami FC. It was a semifinal, I believe. But do you harbor any sort of ill will towards the New York Cosmos, because it seems like they were kind of your bogey team back in those days? They always seem to get the best of your clubs, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I think that they have spoiled. Yeah, they've spoiled quite a bit for me. I had the last say. We actually played New York this past year, and we won. But yeah, it was they were always a great club to play, though. I always really enjoyed playing them. They always had some top players playing for their club, and it was always a joy to play them. They had a great coach. They played a great style. So it was fun. And Miami, when we were in Miami, we had a really good team that played a good style as well. So the games against them were intense, and those are the games that you remember, though. When you smash a team 5-0, you might not remember that as much as going to PKs against New York in a semifinal or whatever the case is. But yeah, no, it was always fun playing them. They did get the best of me quite a bit though.
That whole situation, obviously you're at Indy and then you're at Miami. The league itself suffered, unfortunately, from a lot of instability and the eventual lawsuit and the shutdown and all that stuff of the NASL. What's it like to be a player when you're not really, you're not in the decision making of the league? Are you just waiting and seeing to see what kind of decision the higher ups are going to make, or what's it like to have to kind of endure? I mean, we're in these current uncertain times, I guess, but unfortunately it hasn't been that strange for the clubs that you've played with. They've gone through times of uncertainty as well from more of a business standpoint. What's it like to try to navigate those times as a player?
It's not an easy time. It puts a lot of stress on you as a player, for your family, because things start to become uncertain. And, for you as a player, you're always inspiring to play at the highest level, or at least have quality training so that you can become a better player. And, we didn't know what to make of the situation when it first started to take hold. But we still had a lot of players who stayed around. And Miami is a club that they find a way to get good players. So the training was always good. It's tough when you go into those leagues. You have expectations to win them because you have the best players, which, it's still a competition. You're still playing and you're still getting a paycheck. And at the end of the day, you got to decide what's best for you and your family, and make decisions based off that. So my decisions have always been made for my family, and that's kind of where it's led me.
So it's led you now to El Paso, and I'm curious, when did you first find out about Locomotive's interest and the possibility of moving to El Paso?
Well, I played with Richie Ryan before in Miami, and we had
Right.
kept in touch when he went to Cincinnati. I actually went on loan back to Indy for the remainder of the 2018 season, and then we played them again. So I got to see him, and we got to speaking. Then when he came here, we still remained in touch. And then at the end of the year, he knew my contract was up. He had reached out and just asked me what was going on. I had known Mark, again playing in the NIL for years and playing against them, and we sparked a relationship just playing against each other, communicating and speaking after games and before. So we ended up getting in touch, and I was intrigued with what they had to say to me, and I like the style that Mark plays, and that's something that I've wanted to make a focus of mine, is to make sure that I continuing to enjoy playing. And I know coming here, I was going to have the best opportunity for that.
The move itself, obviously, was a little strange in that you were here, and but no one, it hadn't been announced. No one actually knew that you were player TBA. How was it being the mystery man of Locomotive's preseason?
Yeah, sometimes it's tough to really see what's going on through social media, but yeah, there were just some some ongoing stuff with contract and some some behind the scenes stuff, but it was all set in stone. We just tripped up a few times to get us. It just was a process, that's all. But I think that it was just interesting because, I had family and stuff texting me and, talking about that quite a bit. But, the people that I was close with knew I was here, and, it's always nice to be revealed, but it was just a little later than expected.
The season was obviously shaping up, and we did get the one match in. But before we kind of talk about that match out in Orange County, how, since you did get a full, or close to a full preseason with Locomotive, and you got to be around the team as it kind of shaped up, how does this Locomotive roster stack up against other teams that you've played with at this level?
Well, again, like I've played in the USL for 4 months, so I don't have a lot of knowledge, I guess, of the teams, especially in the West, because I've played my whole career on the East side, eastern part of the
Right.
country. There were a few teams in the NSL that were out West, but not many, and there are a lot of USL teams. So to be honest, I'm not sure what to expect when we play these teams. I thought Orange County was a solid team, and I knew nothing about them. But I do know that this team did well last year. They brought back a handful of players. So the expectations, going to a semifinal are obviously higher this year. To be able to go to the final and win it is the goal. So I think that, we brought in some good players. From what I can see, I know that we learn quickly, and we're going to be a team that, is tough to play against on both sides of the ball. So, I think we're going to be a good team. I think we're going to be, a team that competes and wins games that matter.
So the match in Orange County, obviously the one opportunity so far to get a run out and see how things go. It ends scoreless, but I think, as you said, I think a lot of people who from around the league and around the team saw OC as a tough opening day opponent. How was it to, because it is a situation where you don't know a ton about the other teams in the league, and you're coming back into the USL, having played in NASL and at different levels, what was it like coming back and getting the start out there in Orange County and getting back into this level and trying to play in the USL West?
It was good. The level was good. I think those first games are always tough, especially away from home. You're always going into them with, obviously a lot of adrenaline. You're hyped up and you're ready to go. The season is just beginning, and those games are always a little hectic. As you can see, I felt that game was kind of all over the place. It's tough to settle the game down when you're, that excited and amped up. But, I thought it was a good competition, and, it just shows that we just got to continue to work and improve in some areas, and just keep pushing. I think the competition is going to be good throughout the league, though. I don't think they're going to be the only ones that are a tough competition. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this league's got to offer.
The challenge now, obviously, for you guys is getting back match fit whenever that next match is. We always talk preseason, that people are getting into form and getting up to match fitness. How much of a challenge is it going to be to go from, you were in the midst of gaining that and getting to full fitness? How tough is it going to be to get back there? And how long of a process do you think it's going to be for you guys to get back to that kind of form that you were in, I guess, immediately following the OC game?
Like I said, it's something that everyone's in the same situation. And you just got to make sure that you're doing what you can at home to stay as fit as possible. There's plenty of places that are nearby that I'm able to go to at least. And I know for a lot of the guys, I'm sure they're able to jog around on the streets or whatever it is, in-home workouts. But I know that when we get back into it, they're going to allow each team to have a couple weeks of another basically preseason to get fit again. And I think that's really all that we'll need. A couple weeks just to get sharpness back on the field and with the ball, and cutting and all that is, it plays its part. And I think that's just what we'll have to get back and get used to, really, is just the feel of being on the field again and passing and moving and all that kind of stuff.
Is there a specific thing that, when all this is up, and you're able to get back out there, is there a specific thing that you most look forward to, about being able to get back, either to back playing matches, which is obviously what you're here to do. So, I mean, is there anything that you specifically look to as like the one thing that you're most looking forward to about getting back out there?
I'm really excited to play in a home game. I enjoy those so much, and it's always really nice to play in front of the fans and your family, because not all of them get to travel all the time to the away games. So I'm really excited to be able to go and play in the Southwest Park and in front of everyone. I think that's going to be a great feeling and a great memory to have.
Yeah. Well, that is what I've got. Christian, you got any further questions for Dylan before we let him go?
Not soccer related. I'm just curious. And then I have a follow up. But how long have you been in El Paso, Dylan? Like, how long have you been settled here?
I got here January 28th or so. At the end of January. And I kind of bounced around in the beginning for like a week and a half or so, and then I ended up getting into a temporary apartment shortly after.
Okay. And you've only been free to move around the city for like a month since you got here, and then we got locked down. But is there anything so far that you have found that you really like, a particular place or a particular sort of event or food, or just kind of what do you like about the city so far?
There's a handful of things I've enjoyed. My wife and I love taco tote. Big taco tote fans. Mexican food around here is delicious. We enjoy Mexican food. I was on a jog the other day, and I ran into a trail that is up near where I live, and they're pretty cool. It's some cool views, and I didn't know there was as many trails as I had no idea that they were right there. They were as close as they were, and there's quite a few of them. So that's pretty. That's always fun to find that stuff and be able to have like mountains and view was nice. We lived in Miami before, obviously, for a couple of years, and there are no mountains anywhere near Miami. You have the beach and the ocean, but I'm more of a mountainous person. I think my wife is as well. So, but yeah, no, it's been a great city. Everyone's been extremely nice and kind and helpful. And yeah, I like the pace of the city. It's a lot slower than Miami was, and that's I enjoy that a little bit more, less traffic. So no, there's a lot of things that I've found that I've liked about it so far.
Are you brushing up on your Spanish at all?
A little bit. My son's coming home speaking a little bit now too. So as he gets into it a little bit more, I think I'll have to engage more so than I do. But I mean, I'm Cuban. My dad is born in Cuba, so I have that Spanish side of my family. I just I didn't grow up and learn. My dad didn't teach us. So unfortunately, I've struggled throughout my life because I'm around it so much. But I've done fine. I know quite a bit just from being around it so much, and I definitely would have to learn more to be at that next level, though.
Well, Dylan, I really appreciate you joining us. We're glad to get to know you, despite the fact that we're in strange circumstances and we don't have more match action to talk about, and we're hoping
Yeah.
to see you guys back in action sooner rather than later. But I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us.
Yeah, no, thank you again for having me on. I enjoyed it. It's always fun to come on the podcast and talk a little bit, like you said, and hopefully next time there'll be a little bit more soccer to talk about. But just everyone stay safe and healthy.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Dylan, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care.